for my son, I thank God for just allowing me to be his mother. He is definitely a blessing unto me. What can I say about him? He's respectful. You know, he's honest. He's loving. He's caring. He's just a man of integrity. He's a man of character. God has truly blessed him. God has truly made ways for him. He is truly a blessed man of God. I just thank God for him. I thank God for his obedience. He is definitely not a disobedient child. He is obedient even when, you know, even if he doesn't want to do something, he's still going to do it out of obedience. And there's not a lot of people who would, you know, do stuff like that. And there's a lot of people who wouldn't be obedient, regardless of whether or not you tell him to do something or you tell him not to do something. He has always been an obedient child. He always has been loving and caring and nurturing and helping. And I just give thanks to God for him. I don't know what he's going to say to you today. He is a student. He just graduated from, you know, Penn State. You know, he is definitely somebody that you can look up to. You know what I mean? He's been through things. I don't know, you know, a lot of you know that have been here. He has been stabbed in Penn State in 2 places. The doctor told me basically that he didn't know what, he said to me, your son's lucky. I said, no, my son's not lucky. My son is blessed. The knife would have hit his liver just a little bit more, that he would have been dead. And I said, our church had prayed for him that night when we were in the past. And I said, he got a lot of things, there's been so many things that went wrong, but in all that, he has received awards. He has received so many things that I wouldn't even thought he would receive, but God. He's learning a lot, and he has a lot to offer for you young kids. I pray that, you know, you would, you know, reach out to him, talk to him, because he has a lot of knowledge to where you guys are going, to where you guys want to go. He's been there, he's done it, and so, you know, talk to him, reach out, and he loves kids. He loves kids. He loves to talk to them, he loves to help them. He wants to do whatever. He has his own business that he's trying to work up. It's called Strive, and he's trying to do what he can do to help the generation that is coming up. So I just thank God for who he is. I don't know what he has in store for y'all, but I just thank God for him.
Church family, through all the things that I've been through, they've always been here to support me. And, you know, in today's society, not having that support and the things that you need, the people that you need around you that love, it's very easy to fall, you know, by the wayside. So I would definitely like to thank my family and also give praise to God, because as my mother said, you know, anything could have happened to me aside from just a stabbing, other things that I've been through in my life. You know, I could not be here today. So I'm very blessed and very thankful to be able to sit here in front of you all, and especially you young people today, and talk to you, because I understand that it's needed. You know, it's necessary. So I actually entitled my speech "Worth It" based off of Pastor saying this morning that he's worth it, that God is worth it, and because God is worth it, you are worth it, because you are children of God. And I think it's very important for you to know that you are worth it, because, as I said, the society will tell you that you're not. They'll tell you that you need, all these different things, a multitude of different things that that it's very hard to get. But they don't tell you that you need God and an understanding of God, so that way that through Him you are worth it. Pastor also stated today, what's the worth of gaining the world to lose your soul? And I found that just very remarkable, and I also seen that God was speaking to the church, because that's exactly where I want to come to you today. What I was speaking on, I put 28:6 of Proverbs chapter 28, verse 6, but I'm actually going to start from the first verse of chapter 28 and go through. If you have your Bibles, please read along with me. So we're having some technical difficulties with the monitor, but if you're able to read with your neighbor, and it's Proverbs 28, chapter 1 through 6. And the Bible says, the wicked flee when no... Is everyone ready? I'm sorry. Okay. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are bold as a lion. Because of the transgression of the land, many are its princes, but by a man of understanding and knowledge, right will be prolonged. A poor man who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain, which leaves no food. Those who forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. Evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. Better is the poor man who walks in his integrity than the one perverse in his ways, though he be rich. And for those, to read it, but basically, better is the poor man who is righteous than the rich man who is wicked in his ways. So, yeah, that's it. So, for me, I found this verse, I actually came across the verse 6, and I thought that it would be a good topic to talk about, because I felt as if though, as I spoke earlier, there's a lot of things that are pulling on you all, that you feel as if though, the TV, radio, even your PlayStation games and Xbox games, they'll tell you all these different things that you need, nice cars and all these different things, but this society won't tell you that a lot of people, they do a lot of the wrong things to get where they are now. And because of that, we shun, we look down upon all the people who are righteous and who are the good, who do the good in the world, so that way we can all be happy and we can all have peace and life. So I felt that it was important for me to speak on this topic, because I can recall, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Anthony Lyon, as my mother introduced. I am a Pottstown native, and I remember being in all of your shoes just a few years ago. I remember like it was yesterday. And the society it's pretty much the same. I remember, just having to go through things such as my friends in and out of jail, seeing people under duress and stressing because of obstacles that, they found it really hard to overcome, because there was never that support, there was never that love. There was only people telling them or the things around them telling them that they needed more, they needed more, they needed more. And because of that, they felt as if though their lives were not complete. And I felt as if though it was important to explain to people, which I didn't understand at the time, is that it was an understanding of God and knowing God and getting to know God that is the only way through these obstacles that people have. Because in order to know yourself and to know your self-worth, you have to know God and you have to know His word, because He gives you that word that you have. So for me, just running around here in Pottstown. You know, I've always been in school. School was very easy to me. I've always had a lot of support. From day one, my family has always told me, you know, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you do good in school, as long as you keep your grades up, you stay out of trouble, and those types of things will lead you to the places that you need to go. And you hear it so much from your family and people that are older than you. But I mean, I remember being in school. I remember being with my friends, and you know, that's a whole different side of it, because we have friends who don't go to school, who skip class, who feel as if though being in school and learning things that a teacher is teaching is not important because it's boring, or because it's not interesting to you, or it could be a whole bunch of different things. And I remember having to go through all those things. It was weird for me. I also like to contribute to this to God as well, because for me, throughout my high school career, even my middle school career, when my friends were doing the things that they weren't supposed to be doing, you know, they would offer me, you know, let's go to so-and-so's house, you know, instead of going to class and things like that. And for me, it was, nah, you know, I'm going to stay here and go to school. I got football practice after school, or something like that. But my friends, they were never overbearing with things like that. And as I look back in life, I really wonder how much, you know, that would have changed me if my friends were just a little bit more, if pushed, you know, and explained to me, you know, let's really go do this. You really should, because school is not where we need to be. And I felt as if though it was only God who was able to give me that support vicariously through my friends and through my family, so that way I can stay on the right path. Now I understand that a lot of you might not be in that same position. You might have friends who are pushing. You know, they tell you, man, school's not really the way to go. These things are not the things that you need to do. Or, yeah, so what, we can come back the next day. But I feel as if though it's not, I don't want to say that it's not hard. It is hard. It's definitely hard not to do what your friends are doing and the peer pressure and things like that for you. But what's more important is finding out through God who you are yourself. What it is that you would like to do in life. You know? Because one thing that I wasn't taught, and I'm kind of going to go into it a little bit later, but one thing that I wasn't taught is that this society is not there for you. It's not here to see you succeed. You know, that's why you see all the troubles that everybody goes through. Everything that you see everybody here in town going through is because of this society. I remember walking around town and just wondering, you know, I mean, you hear about places like Philadelphia and different cities and all the different things that go on in the world, but you really, all you know is right here. You know, this is all you see every single day, and this is all you know. And because of that, constantly seeing just this place, you feel as if though this is the only place that you can go. Now, me, myself, as I stated, I was fortunate enough to be blessed with a mind where I felt as if though school was not really an obstacle for me. It wasn't hard. And because of that, I was able to go through it. And of course, the support of my friends and my family helped me through. So I was able to be accepted into the Penn State University, State College, Maine University. And I remember everyone, they were so ecstatic and they were so happy for me. And I was happy for myself. I felt as if though, you know, a lot of people were not able to make it to college. A lot of people in my family did not make it to college. And so for me, it was a blessing. And I felt as if though, me being able to go to college, I would be able to create or generate the money that I needed to be able to get my family out of this situation here in Pottstown, to show them a better life and to show them the things that, you know, we weren't able to see. And because of this was my only focus going into college. You know, I'm going to go into college, I'm going to do good, get a real good job, be able to move somewhere different and just see new things. And by me going to college, you know, the first thing I realized was, wow, it's so big. You know, because when initially I thought that college would just be another 4 years of high school. You know, sitting around in class, listening to people lecture all day, and that's really what it is. But college it's a whole different ball game. And the reason why it's a whole different ball game is because it's a lot of added responsibility. It's not as much class time it's less class time, actually. It's more free time. And because of this free time, it's very easy for you to fall off track of what it is that you need to do. And for me, it was just weird because it was like, wow, there's so many different people here, doing so many different things. I mean, Penn State is a very big university. It's about 44,000 undergraduate students. It's bigger than this town. And you have, organizations like Pizza Club and rugby, like just so many different things that you can get involved with, so many different things that you can learn. And it was really a pizza club. And they actually gather every Wednesday and eat pizza, different types of pizza and things like that. And it was so crazy to me and so wild because it's like, wow, this is nothing like I had conceptualized, nothing that I envisioned college to be like. I just thought it would be another 4 years. And immediately I thought back to here in town, so many of my friends that didn't make it to college or weren't able to go off and see these opportunities, all because of the misunderstanding that, it was the exact same thing as the high school, or it was no way that it could make me a better person or do anything because right now I'm just trying to get this quick money, or because right now, I'm more focused on the boy that I think is cute and I need his attention, things like that that really led them astray into being able to get this opportunity. So for me, immediately I knew that if it wasn't right for me to go on and to move somewhere else and do something different with my life without coming back here and really trying to help those kids, not only here, but around the country, around the nation, who are missing out on opportunities solely for the simple fact that this society, as I stated, does not want you to get any further in life than where you are right here and right now. So because of this, at school, I racked my brain. I really racked my brain a whole lot as to what it was that I could actually do. Like, what for me can I do to kind of give back to my community? And I spent years, like the first year, my freshman year, just thinking, there's fraternities and sororities and things, and I said, what, maybe I'll start a fraternity. Because, there's fraternities, they're supposed to be doing, community service and giving back, but, they get caught up in a lot of different things. It's the attention, the things that people say that, you need, but, it's really not. So I said, maybe I'll do this. And that really didn't work out, so I'm just still thinking, not really understanding. But still in the back of my mind, it's like, I still got to get this good job. I still got to do what it is that I need to do to get my family, at least in a better position. So my sophomore year was actually homecoming my sophomore year. As my mother spoke about, it was the night that I was stabbed. It was a crazy situation for me because I was simply at a party, and just enjoying myself at a party and my time. And by the time the party was over, a friend of mine and a friend of my cousins who, we weren't even really associated with throughout the whole party, had ended up in an altercation with a whole bunch of different people. And our first thought was, we don't want anything really bad to happen to him. Maybe if it was, just one other person, it'd be something different. But it's a lot of different people. And so for me, I felt as if though we need to help in some type of way. So we did. We got involved. And by the time, I could really come to focus on what it was that was going on at that night, I could not breathe. And it was the craziest thing to me because I never felt this way before in my life. I played football, I've gotten the wind taken out of me, but I could not catch my breath. And I'm just thinking, looking around, and I'm like, what is going on? And finally I felt my side, and it was soaked. Everything was soaked. From my side down to my leg, everything was just soaked. So I lifted my shirt up, and I had a wet shirt on, and I see all this blood. And it was just, I don't know, I was in awe, but at the same time, I just couldn't breathe. And my first thought was, how can I get my breath back? How can I make sure that I'm stable? So I go and I get the first girl that I see, and I say, can you call 911 for me? I think I got stabbed and I can't breathe. And meanwhile, while this is going on, people are still fighting. There's just a whole bunch of different stuff that's going on. And 15 minutes after this whole, after we called the ambulance, the first cop showed up. It was one cop. And I remember thinking, it was mind-boggling, but I'm sitting on a tree, and I'm standing on a tree, leaning on it, and it says, yeah, you should probably sit down. It starts asking me a whole bunch of different questions, and I remember thinking to myself, why are you asking me questions that I can't breathe? I'm not really trying to answer any of these questions. And so finally the ambulance comes 10 minutes later, and they start asking me the same question. Now through all this time, I'm not really sure where my cousin is, or what's going on with anybody else. I'm just trying to figure out how to breathe. So I get inside the ambulance, and they take me to this hospital, and they fly me to another hospital through a helicopter. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really, really happening to me. And it was just crazy to me. So I finally get to the hospital that they flown me to, and I remember the doctor asking me, well, what he's actually telling me, you have two different options. He said, you can get surgery so that way we can tell if you're eternally bleeding or not, or you can kind of let it play out and see what happens. And I remember thinking to myself, what kind of ultimatum is this? So my first reaction was, what do you think I should do? And he said to me, there's pros and cons to every situation. With surgery, you never know what happens, but at least we'll know whether you're bleeding or not. And if you wait, of course the bleeding will be more, and you'll get an extreme pain, but it's really up to you. So I decided to wait. Something told me, and I believe it was God, he told me, just wait it out, because I was terrified to undergo surgery and not really know, what else has happened to me, knowing that I'm in this situation. And all of this, it hit me, but it didn't hit me until the next morning. So I didn't really get to go to sleep until about 4 o'clock that night, or that morning. But around 7, I think it was about 7 or 8 o'clock, my mother, my 2 little sisters, my aunt, my father, and my 2 little cousins, they came to the door, and I'll never forget, all of their faces. And that was the moment that it really hit me, that, this incident, really could have cost me my life, and caused so much pain to my family and to the people who cared about me. And because of that, I pretty much had a revelation from God. I had to look back on the situation as to, how did this all happen? And more importantly, how did this all happen? Why has God kept you here? And to me, I felt as if though it was a learning lesson, that a lot of people fight different battles every day. We all fight different battles. And you can't help anybody else, you can't fight anybody else's battle for them. All you can do is assist them. And in my assistance, I had to learn the hard way, but I also learned that in helping people, no matter what comes out of it or the outcome, God will always carry you through. Amen. So, after the stabbing incident occurred, I came home, I spent time with my family and my loved ones for a week, and I ended up going back to school that next week. And it was hard for me because, it was weird on campus because not a lot of people knew that it was me who had got stabbed. It was a big thing on campus as opposed to like involving the violence and the things that did happen. It was big, but nobody really knew it was me. So I was able to pretty much keep myself under wraps as to what had happened and things like that. So a month goes by, and things are still hard with school, having to catch back up after a week in college is not as easy as it may seem. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And so I come back home for Thanksgiving break that next month. Get back with my family, get to reunite, explain to them what's going on, how things are, because there's a lot of turmoil, there's a lot of, concern, because, there was no idea who it was that did this at the party. Like I said, it was homecoming, a lot of different people come from a lot of different places. but it could have been somebody who was right there on campus, you know, and, you know, my family was very worried about that, you know, maybe something happening again to us. So there's a lot of things that we had to deal with. And then during that Thanksgiving break, actually on Thanksgiving Day, I ended up losing my grandfather. He had passed away on Thanksgiving Day. Excuse my sweat. He had passed away during Thanksgiving, on Thanksgiving Day, and it was remarkably hard. It was really hard because, you know, we had just gone through what had happened with not only myself but also my other first cousin had got stabbed as well, and another friend of ours. And we had to deal with all that, and then on top of that, my grandfather passed. And once again, I had to look to God. Because it's like, you know, how could so much happen in, you know, just a span of not even 2 months? There's a lot to deal with, and then on top of that, classes as well. And for me, I felt as if though it was him speaking to me and just letting me know that, you know, there's a lot of things that you're still not familiar with in this life. There's a lot of things that you don't know. And because of that, you're going to have to go through a lot more trials and a lot more tribulations in order to overcome those and be prepared for what it is that that he has planned for me. So, in going back to school, I finished that semester and it was extremely hard. My grades had fell. I didn't fail, but they fell. My grades fell and it was really hard. And then the next semester, I ended up taking a philosophy class. It was Philosophy 9, Race, Culture, and Diversity. And this class, it changed my life. Because this class was basically teaching us the real history of racism and our society and the way things work within our society. And it opened my mind up to a whole bunch of different things as to why it is that our society is the way that it is. And it immediately brought me right back here to Pottstown. It immediately brought me right back to the only thing that I really knew in life. I got to see from a whole bunch of different people, a whole lot of different people within my classes. I got to understand what it was that they understood about, you know, people in situations that aren't in the situations that they are. We're so quick to judge people that we don't know or we don't understand. Our society is very judgmental and very individualistic, and that class kind of brought that out of each and every person. And it was so crazy because I was able to realize that it's not even our faults. What? It's not our faults at all. Come on, say it again. We do not understand why we are the way that we are. We do not understand why it's so easy for us to pass judgment on the next person. We do not understand why it is so easy for us to disconnect ourselves with them. We feel as if though it doesn't matter because it's not happening to me, or it doesn't matter because it's not helping my situation, so why should I care about that? And it really enlightened me and it allowed me to see that that was the main fabric of our society, what makes our society the way that it is. All of the confusion, all of the hurt, all of the oppression, all of the depression, all of the stress, everything comes out of the fact that we ourselves are not able to look inside of ourselves and look into God and understand that everything that goes on around us affects us. Everything affects us, and it affects us whether it's negatively or positively. And so in this class, I got to see from perspectives of people that I would have never met in my life. And really understand why it is that people and us ourselves go on and carry on the way that we do, leaving out the possibility that we're able to help the next person or help the next person's situation. So from this class, I was able to gather and I was able to actually learn a lot. And because of that, I looked to God and learned a lot about myself. God explained to me that, you know, you have to understand, but you have to also overstand. And I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with overstanding. I don't even know if it's a word, but people have to overstand. You can understand a situation, you can understand a person's situation. Say, for instance, they might not understand, or they might not know what it is that causes them to be as hurtful to you, or causes them to deceive you, to lie to you, to do anything that they can to get over on you and make themselves feel better. And that's why you have to understand things. Because we don't understand as people and as individuals our self-worth, because we don't know God and we don't understand His word. And because of that, we find the best way possible to pull others down because we don't feel okay with ourselves. And because of this, it causes the strife and all the plight that we all go through. So in this understanding that I was able to see these things, I understood, like, okay, fine, these people don't really know our stories. They don't really know what it is that we go through. And they're taught how to think about something, and they think that way, which is okay. I have to be able to understand that. But understanding that, I have to also be able to accept that and be able to and be willing to help them as well with what it is that they're going through, and in order to help myself. So, in looking to God, I was able to find my self-worth, as I stated, and I was able to find that through Him, I can do anything. Anything is possible through God. And because of that, I felt that it was important to kind of go around and spread this message to people. So what I was able to do my junior year, I started STRIVE, which stands for Strengthening Tomorrow, Requires Initiative and Vision Every Day. And it's a mentoring and community outreach initiative for underprivileged communities. And through this, I was able to actually reach out to different mentoring organizations that were in the State College area, basically to learn about what it is that they do, how they go about mentoring students that are in the situations that I've come from, and kind of help them through that. And it was crazy because we had got the organization started my junior year, and we had built a working relationship with the middle school that was locally there, and just the October that we were actually going to be starting, the Sandusky trial had hit. And this trial had actually severed our relationships with the school. They didn't want to work with us because it was just too much going on to be working with kids in the town, and it kind of threw us off track because, you know, we had set aside this whole program and the whole outline of how things would go. And once again, I had to look to God and try to realize, you know, what is it that I can gain from this? What do you need me to do? I thought I was doing what I needed to do by starting this organization and doing something, and then, bam, just like that, something hits that's totally out of my control. I know only you control it, Lord, but what can I do? And so we were actually able to partner with another organization that was already well established. And they felt as if though there wasn't a lot of different organizations joining, and we could actually be beneficial to each other by bringing in more students and being able to work with more kids. So through that, we were able to work with kids that were in the Bellefonte area, which is like a neighboring town of State College. And I was able to actually learn the things that we needed to learn as far as to mentoring kids and things like that. So for me, it was just a blessing in disguise. And I was able to learn from that. So, and moving forward to today, and looking back on all of these things, I kind of touched on it, but I found it weird that, not really weird because I guess God was showing me, as I said, I only wanted to do verse 6 of chapter 28, Proverbs. But as I read, you know, the prior verses, I seen that this all went together. He says that because of the transgression of the land, many are its princes. Meaning, because of the way of this society, it may seem to us that, you know, a lot of people are more than what they are. And as I said earlier too, it's because they go through things or they do things that are wrong or not justifiable by getting over on other people and doing other things to other people. And I feel as if though it is important for me to explain to y'all and to say to y'all that the true way that you can be rich or you can find worth in yourself is to find God and to be happy with yourself. that should be your ultimate concern. Because when you get caught up in the things that you think that you need, or the things that people around you have, or your friends have, or the things that your friends are doing that seems like it's making them happy, or all these different things, you have to understand that God is within each and every one of us. And because of that, nothing outside of yourself and outside of God can bring you what it is that you need to be successful and to be happy in life. And the goal of life is serenity, is to be at peace with yourself, to be at peace with your mind. If you chase the things that are going on in this world, if you chase the things that you think that you need, but you don't need, you'll continually be confused, you'll continually be hurt, you'll continually be upset with yourself, you'll continually be just angry with the world. And you will continue to perpetuate the things that are going on around you. And that's why I said that it's important to understand all of these things. It's important to understand the fact that the next person might talk bad about you, but you got to understand that it's because they're not really true to themselves and not able to find themselves. Because of that, they do whatever they feel is necessary to uplift themselves, and to them that's bringing you down. But what you have to do is know that the only way that you can uplift yourself is not by bringing the next person down, but by looking to God and learning who you are. And through that, you'll be able to help that next person, help them see that they have to do the same as well. And by doing that as well, you'll also create a better society, you create a better environment for yourself, a less stressful environment. When you have more people who know God, you have more people who are able to find themselves through God, you'll have more people who are willing to help you. You'll have more people who are willing to do things that benefit you and themselves. You'll have more people who are willing to put it all on the line for you because they know that through doing that, it's through God, and because of that, they'll be able to receive what it is that they're giving to others. And I felt as if, though, through everything that I've been through, everybody goes through something. Every single person has trials and tribulations that they go through, and no one person's trials and tribulations are greater or more important than the next person. So the only thing that we can do is encourage each other to look inside of ourselves and look to God and talk to God and find out what it is that He wants you to be happy with and what He has for you, so that way you're able to sustain yourself and be successful within yourself, and then bring your success to this world and to this environment. Because without that, you're going to be constantly looking for something that's not there. And so another verse that I had looked up was Luke chapter 6, verse 31, and it says, "And as you wish others would do to you, do so to them." It's something that you hear all the time. People say if you don't want people to do something to you, don't do it to them. The golden rule, and I know it's so repetitive. You hear it so much, it's like, man, I'm not really trying to hear that. You know, if somebody does something to me, I'm going to do it back. Things like that. But God says that your karma, what you do and what you put into this world, will always come back to you. Whether it's today, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next month or next year, it will always come back to you. So it's best for you to give as much positivity to this world as you can, because that's all that you will receive. Negativity that you put out to anybody, even if they're being negative to you, will not get you anywhere in this world but hurt you. And I just found that I think it would be very important for you to know that and to understand that and really know that only through God and knowing yourselves, as it states, evil men do not understand justice, but those who seek the Lord understand all. Only through seeking God and seeking to find what it is that He has for you will you be able to know and understand everything that you need to know about this world. Because God created this world. This world did not create itself. So it cannot tell you what it is that it needs from you. Only God can. With that being said, I just want you to know that it is through God that you can do all things. And if that means helping the next person, so that way you can help yourself, or you can help the next person because it's not helping yourself. Give, and you shall receive. That's what it is that you have to live by every day, every single day, because it will always come back to you the next. I'm kind of going to end right there. Okay, so if ever you receive me, if ever you want to reach out to me, just let me know. I'm more than happy to sit down and talk to you about anything, any type of issues, problems, anything that, any ideas or anything that you would like to see. I would love to hear. And there will be a lot of things coming with Strive here in the area as well too. I'm working on that as well, and also we'll be working with the church as well too. So just let me know. Amen.